Welcome to our series of art, heritage, and culture. And today in this series, we are discussing, in fact, we are reviewing about the great work of Shakespeare. Or today, we have taken a play by the name of Macbeth. And people who have read this play and they can actually relate the kind of character Macbeth is and how he has converted from good to bad. To review this play, we are joined by Dr. G. Revathi. So, without wasting any further moment, let's welcome her. Welcome to the show, ma'am. And how are you doing, Revathi, ma'am?
Yeah, doing good, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is always so interesting to really talk to you and listen the stories of the great works of Shakespeare. And today, as you have informed, that we will be discussing Macbeth, and definitely Macbeth is for me is also quite interesting play and quite interesting character. So let's just find out more about this wonderful the King of Scotland, Macbeth.
Right, ma'am. So basically, Macbeth is the story of how a little push for greed can send an aspiring, ambitious man on a disastrous and deadly fate. And it even reminds us about the danger of ambition and the evil that lurks in every single one of us. And Macbeth is Shakespeare's shortest tragedy and most violent play that speaks about Scottish bravery. Complete name of the play is The Tragedy of Macbeth. It was first performed in 1606, and the source of the play was Hollenshead's Chronicles. It's actually from where, this is a compilation of the British history, and this has been the source for this Macbeth play. And at that point of time, James the One was the ruler of England when Macbeth was performed. So Shakespeare's playing company, Lord Chamberlain's men came to be known as King's Men during the reign of King James I, because King James I was the patron of Shakespeare's playing company, King's Men. Now everyone believes that Macbeth is the play that shows Shakespeare's close relationship with King James I. And another thing, Macbeth was a cursed play. Taking the name of the play resulted in accidents and problems, so people started calling it as the Scottish play. Now it's a quite a complex and emotionally intense play that gained wide popularity when it was first performed. It's actually a story of an ambitious, conscience-stricken, and imaginative general who is driven by his wife or by his ambition to murder his king. Now, here, if you look at the play, the tragic heroes are men of high state and noble status. So, the protagonist is actually a Scottish general. He is also a close relative of King Duncan. Now, another feature of Shakespeare's tragedies is that they end in the deaths of both the hero and the heroine. Similarly, in Macbeth, both Macbeth and Lady Macbeth die, and this is also true of plays like Romeo and Juliet. Both the hero and heroine die at the end of the play.
Yes, and I have I this character actually remained quite interesting for me because you see there is a transition from a good man to a bad man, and that gives a kind of it connects somewhere to general public that if we have lust, we have ambitions, and that if we are not following a path of morality to achieve it, then definitely we result into it's kind of a doom of the whole personality kind of thing. So I just want to know, I mean, you have just undergone just say that Macbeth is how he achieved, but what are those circumstances which resulted in making him so unpopular and eventually he died? And what are those specific sentences which became very popular after the play?
Right. So the thing is, there are a few famous quotes from this play. But before that, let me just point out the ambition when the three witches prophesied that he would be the king of uh, uh, Macbeth would be the king of Scotland. So, but then the ambition which he already had it, and that was not the true culprit. Ambition and how to achieve it, how to get through it was the evil method or the bloody method he has adopted, and this is why he had become quite infamous. As we all know, the heroes or the protagonists of the Shakespeare play, most of the time they are of the noble, except for there is a flaw. There's a kind of a weakness. So this is how then he wanted to become the king, and on top of it, his wife, Lady Macbeth, too instigated him to take up a path which is not appropriate. So that is what the ambition, along with this kind of a method to achieve it, has actually brought this man that negative kind of a impression on this man.
Well, what happens like because I have just gone through a couple of summaries about the play, and it says that Lady Macbeth committed suicide, and she was so overwhelmed by her action because she has instigated her husband to do bad things, and so then what will be the impact? As you said that both husband and wife really died, and they were have that guilt in themselves. So the whole scenario really represent the human nature. Uh, in this case, he acquired the throne and he became the king. But many times, that whole character gel with the common people also who are ambitious, but they shed the morality or maybe a shortcut to achieve success. So just put some light on this character.
Right. As you aptly told, that Macbeth, his ambition itself wasn't the thing which actually, drove him to such madness. It was ambition, and added to it, the kind of path what he has adopted was not the appropriate. Okay. When you look at the current scenario, the situation in the present day, even most of its plays, in fact, Shakespeare plays are still relevant today. They explore the humanity in people. So here, basically, Macbeth was a greedy, jealous, and unhappy with his life. He was extremely susceptible to pressure, and so Shakespeare managed to accurately depict many truths about the human race. So many in modern society fit the profile of Macbeth in one sense or another,
Right.
partly because human nature hasn't changed a great deal since the Elizabethan era. Now, themes such as guilt, shame, anxiety, paranoia, trauma, mental illness, psychological vulnerability, envy, inferiority, manipulation, greed, murder are still relevant in this century. So, and another point I would like to add here, Macbeth is relevant for young people in our society, mainly because it examines the idea of corruption and how easily it is to be led astray by ambition. And another way in which it is very relevant to students is the point that the play makes between appearance and reality. Now, for example, here I would like to mention a quote from the play Macbeth. That is, it says, "Fair is foul, foul is fair." It's from Act One and Scene One. The three witches, they actually, go into the wind. This is how the beginning of the thing starts with. It says that, whatever we look and see at, they tell us that nothing is as it seems. So what's good, which you call it as fair, can be evil or it can be foul. Now, what's evil is good. So everything is strangely reversed. So this particular quote is also, kind of a paradox. And for example, here, students especially, they want to kind of put up with fake image. I mean, a kind of an image, maybe because of the media or whatever could be the reason. So whatever they are true to, I mean, they are never ever true to themselves. They kind of portray themselves as something which they are not. So this is how, I mean, it's kind of, you can relate it to the nature of Macbeth. Yeah.
This is one of the lengthiest play which is written by Shakespeare. So I just want to know what kind of language, English language, he has used, and what is up gradation of the English language. What is the impact to the common people at that point in time, even today? What you think about this?
Well, as we all know, he was the master of words. He had brought in a lot of phrases into his language. So he in fact coined several words, several phrases, and more or less it is somewhat close to the contemporary language. For example, I'd like to give you another soliloquy here from the same play. Here he says Macbeth, after getting to know about the death of Lady Macbeth, he says, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in the steady pace from day to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fuse the way to dusty bed. Out, brief candle, lights but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and treads his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. So it's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Now look at this language. I mean, it is appropriate to the present scenario. The present generation also can definitely understand it, because this is it's the shortest play in fact. So what do you think of what tomorrow is being repeated for Macbeth's life? Because he has lost its organic unity. So for him, every day, so he says tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Every day is merely a meaningless, monotonous, and absurd repetition of the previous day. So he says, after the death of Lady Macbeth, this also shows the love between these two people, the couple. So the moment he comes to know that she's gone mad, as well as she's no more, she's dead, then he comes into a kind of a depression. He goes into a depression, and there he utters these words. So if you look at the angle of Shakespeare, tomorrow, 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 I mean, though it's repeated, it's a metaphorical symbolism there. If you look at it, it shows that every day is just the same, just the same. So this is how the language with which he just played with words and phrases.
Okay, it is, as you mentioned, at James 1. So most people say that the whole story somehow relate to James 1 administration, and the play was actually first time played after the death of James 1, I guess. So I just want my viewers to really find out that he has also mentioned any administrative aspect of a king or any teaching through Macbeth, that this is good or this is bad for a head of the state, and he should do or she should not do that kind of thing.
As a ruler, he was kind of a whaler and a brave kind of a person. Then, if you can see the role of Banco, it is in fact, it's been heard, it's been taken up as James I is also the descendant of Banco's clan. So this is how it is closely related to that. Not just that, and being a ruler, he was a brave and a kind of a person where he would always stand up for the righteous things. Like basically, when you look at the Macbeth there, there's a kind of a conflict. So here he comes up, that as a king, he says that, he stands up for the people, for the citizens, or for the subjects of his kingdom. So that way, I think he had even supported. When you look at the sponsorship, he has, rendered his sponsorship for this, the play company of Shakespeare. That itself indicates that he was quite, a man of life, and a man who's kind of quite, I mean, a brave and an honored kind of a personality.
So, before we wind up, any last thought regarding this creation of Shakespeare and which we are calling Macbeth? So, any last input you want to convey to our viewers regarding this?
Uh, right, ma'am. Well, if I would definitely suggest people, I mean, the viewers especially, to kindly read this at least once, because the main moral of the play is not to be tempted to do bad things in order to gain power. Okay, and then kind of uh, you know at a point when you are at a point where you would be that even if you think you are in too deep, there is always a way out, and you can stop. So that is how, and it teaches you to trust yourself and to stand up for yourself. Sometimes your ambition can lead you astray, and you can do bad things. No, that is how you resist your the temptation, and with enough pressure, you can do something you never thought you could do. So never give up. So stand for yourself. What that is what the moral of the story is. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Revathi, and it was so wonderful, and especially discussing a very nice and very rich creation of Shakespeare, which is Macbeth, and definitely, as you mentioned, that everybody at least read once in their lifetime and find out what is a great literary work it is. So, uh, thanks for giving this review and asking people to do the needful, actually, to read the Macbeth. So I'll be meeting again, and we'll discuss more literary work of Shakespeare. Till then, very quite interesting review regarding the Shakespeare's work, literary work, which is Macbeth. And as G. Revathi ma'am also asked all of you to really read this creation, this literary work of Shakespeare at least once. So you will get the insight what kind of character it is, and we have all discussed in this series. And I look forward towards your comments, your views on the character, anything you want to say about this play. And I will be meeting again with our next book review of Shakespeare. Till then, be happy, and I look forward to towards your comments. And again, see you next week. Bye bye.